Seek recognition.
Mr. Speaker, I have an amendment at the desk.
The clerk will designate the amendment.
Amendment number 5, printed in Part A of House Report number 115-919, offered by Mr. Allen of Georgia.
Pursuant to House Resolution 1049, the gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Allen, and a member opposed, each will control 5 minutes. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Georgia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. H.R. 1635 makes important to ensure the Department of Education is doing its job when offering loans to our students for their continued education. Too many young people are coming out of school with a mountain of student loan debt without having understood the full implications of accepting such debt in the first place. Students receiving annual counseling about the obligations of federal student loans is long overdue. However, it's imperative that institutions of higher education do their part to ensure that students consider federal student loans as a last resort. In fact, one of the questions that I ask in a committee hearing is, does anyone encourage students to work their way through college anymore? My amendment provides that nothing prohibits institutions from providing additional financial counseling above what is already included in the bill. When it comes to government-backed loans, the goal of every higher education institution should be to guarantee the success of their students rather than burdening them with debt they cannot repay. Many institutions are taking steps in the right direction to contain costs, but the higher education community needs to step it up to lower costs to ensure that our students are not graduating with an unreasonable amount of debt and without a plan to pay it back. The purpose of my amendment is to send a signal to the university system that it should do more than the minimum required by law to ensure students receive meaningful financial counseling. I urge passage of my amendment, and with that, I yield back.
The gentleman from Georgia yields back. For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Oregon seek recognition?
I seek to claim the time in opposition, although I am not opposed to the amendment.
Without objection, the gentlelady is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I would like to thank the gentleman from Georgia for his amendment. It improves the underlying bill, and I support its acceptance. I rise in support of the amendment to clarify that institutions have the ability to provide additional financial counseling beyond the requirements established in the underlying bill, while making sure that the additional counseling will in no way preclude students from receiving their aid on time. Although the underlying bill does not prohibit institutions from providing this counseling, this amendment makes explicit the institution's ability to provide that additional support. Institutions know their students and the individual capacity of those students, and it's important to provide this flexibility so schools can provide more counseling as needed. Again, I support the gentleman's amendment, and I urge a yes vote and yield back the balance of my time.
From Oregon yields back. The gentleman from Georgia is recognized.
Yes, I thank the gentlewoman from Oregon for her support of this important amendment, and I urge passage of my amendment, and with that, I yield back.
The gentleman from Georgia yields back, all time having expired on this amendment. The question is on the amendment offered by the gentleman from Georgia. Those in favor will say aye. Aye. Those opposed will say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The amendment is agreed to.